confidence how we can approach the new disruptive technology. Businesses that benefit from lower operating costs, like large fleet operators as well logistics companies, they'll be the early adopters of this new disruptive change. Public and private vehicles will follow the lead, and when the total cost of ownership as well as the capital cost of EVs goes down, the future is all EV for us. That's all I had. I think I finished off in stipulated time what you gave me. Any questions, we can take it after the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. Sorry I cut you short there because of the paucity of time. I know it's very interesting subject. A lot of questions may be there. Now I request Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee. He is Vice President Distribution Technical of CESC to make his presentation. If you kindly make it within 10 minutes, please. Thank you. You know, by the time he starts, like I'll tell you, when I was superannuating from Tata Steel 2 years back, that time, you know, we have a policy to get vehicle change in every 5 years. My admin was mentioning me that change your vehicle so you can have it. I said, no, if I go for a vehicle now, I'll go for EV. I'll wait for it. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mukherjee. Yeah.
Very good afternoon to all of you, the distinguished people on the dais and off the dais. I'll try to restrict myself within maybe 8 minutes because the first speaker has touched on most of the topics. So I give 2 minutes from my time. See, I represent a distribution company in Calcutta, working in and around Calcutta. I'll restrict my talk on how things are going on in Calcutta on the EV space. I'll start with the Ministry of Power, Government of India guideline, which came out some maybe 6 to 8 months back, which said that putting up of EV charging stations is delicensed. That means anybody and everybody can put up EV charging stations anywhere in the country. But even then, we find the fact is that not enough EV charging stations are getting set up. People say that it is because of the lack of enough EVs plying on the roads. This is one part of the story. The other part of the story is that the government of India and many state governments are doing their bit. Like many other countries like Norway, China, where EVs have developing at a very fast pace. We know that the EESL, there is one Government of India agency called EESL, Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which is a public sector company. They have brought up a scheme wherein they are pushing around, in the first phase, 10,000 of passenger cars and allocating them to various government departments and government companies for their running around for their own work, captive use. That's one part. Another part is that the government of West Bengal, though I may not be the right person to talk on it, but the government of West Bengal is also putting together a draft EV policy, which we think that very shortly will be coming into the public domain. A lot of meetings among stakeholders are taking place. There was one study by the India Smart Grid Forum, a joint initiative between the Ministry of Power and the Smart Grid fraternity, which did a study, the India Smart Grid Forum, they did a study about the readiness of the charging infrastructure and the supporting network, I mean the power or electricity network in the city of Kolkata. So all these kind of settings or studies or the guidelines are there. Now what has actually happened in Calcutta? The West Bengal Transport Corporation, in 11 of its bus depots, they have put up electric vehicle charging stations. CSC has given them the required electrical infrastructure. Around 80 electric buses are plying. 50 more are being ordered. Though The second lot of 50 mostly will run in the new town area, Calcutta new town area, not within the Calcutta city per se. CESC along with the Kolkata Municipal Corporation has already set up 3 public charging stations in 3 different or 3 prominent, to be more specific, places in the city. We are also in talks with Hindustan Petroleum. In fact, HPCL approached us. We are working together so that we can put up electric vehicle charging stations in their outlets spread across our license area, Kolkata, Howrah, parts of Hooghly. So a lot of work is getting done on setting up electric vehicle charging stations to be on the right direction in creating the ecosystem, and CESC is doing its own bit. For our own captive use, we have 4 EV charging stations, and we are running our own electric vehicles for our captive use. Our officers and staff move around the city doing their work. Now, a few things that I want to say here is that the normal 4-wheelers available in the country presently, the Mahindras and the Tatas, I'll not talk about the Hyundai Kona, it's a bit more costlier. The normal 4-wheelers available in the city, in the country, take only 15 units of electricity to charge itself. 15 units, which can be charged overnight like we charge our mobile phones. Which means that charging a normal 4-wheeler, no one needs a EV charging station to be set up, because a full charge with 15 units of electricity will make the car run for around 100 or 110 kilometers. A study report says that a normal 4-wheeler in Calcutta, on an average, daily, travels around 35 kilometers. So one overnight charge should be more than sufficient. So passenger cars, putting up EVCS, whether it's EVCS is there or not, is not at all a big problem. 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers consume even less electricity for charging, so I'm not discussing on that. Though we find that a lot of 3-wheelers are plying, we call them totos lovingly. They are plying in and around Calcutta, a lot of them. But those are all on lead acid batteries, not lithium ion, which is not very safe though. And the charging of those batteries, I am not very sure whether it's any kind of organized sector or not. I'll not dwell on that. So the electric vehicle charging stations, EVCS, which people go on saying that there aren't enough EVCS or charging stations, which is coming in the way of adoption of EV, is not that much correct, because the government buses that are running has EVCS for their own captive use in the bus depots, where enough backup electrical infrastructure is present. Passenger cars can charge themselves overnight like we do with our mobile phones. The only problem may come if there are enough Olas and Ubers or ride-sharing vehicles, if they run in the city. They may need some boost chargings, which we call DC charging, the top-up charging, at designated places. Well, in Calcutta presently, though we have set up 3, there is another one in the Quest Mall also, which we have set up. There aren't enough today.
Sanjay, 2 more minutes.
But I don't think we will sure crack this chicken and egg story, that whether the EVs to come first, or the ride sharing to be first there, or the charging station to be there first. I don't think that is going to be a problem. The Ministry of Power has made the DISCOMs as the nodal agencies. So from CESC side, I assure that availability of electricity and network is not going to come in the way of development of this ecosystem. And once the EVCS or once the ecosystem gets into place, I'm sure we are all in the right direction. It is surely going into be placed very soon. Once it is going to be in place, I think the EVCS manufacturing or the manufacturing of parts of electric vehicles or maybe the batteries under FAME schemes, FAME 2 or the other schemes, MSMEs may have a role to play, and I'm sure MSMEs will have a role to play in the coming time. As of CESC, I'm also a citizen of in Calcutta. I am representing CESC as well. I assure that the ecosystem will not find the availability of network or electricity as lacking, because Calcutta city, as you all know, the first electric tram, the e-mobility, the first e-mobility in 1902 was in Calcutta. The first metro, which runs on electricity, was in Calcutta. And Calcutta was never short of anything but ready for adoption of all those electric mobilities, and in future also, we are ready. I think we are on the right path. Thank you. If we can take questions later.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee, for finishing within 10 minutes. It's good to know that charging stations are there in Calcutta, and I'm sure similar such things are there other cities and developing. And we are told there are other charging stations which are much faster. That one which the vehicle I was mentioning while coming, I was asking them, how much time do you take? He said, we charge for half an hour. If you charge for half an hour, it runs for around 100 kilometers.
Yes,
that's what he said.
Those are fast chargers.
Actually,
it charges up to 80% of the capacity
right.
in maybe 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay, very good. Now, may I request Vivek Chauhan, he is the Chief of Marketing, Tata Steel. Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you BCCI for giving us opportunity to speak on this subject. Respected dais members, Mr. Sen, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We at Tata Steel do follow this subject. We are a steel making company, but we do follow this subject rigorously. And we are also partnering in some way or the other with the EV manufacturers. So the way we have, the way I have put up this presentations, part of it has been covered by Mr. Mukherjee and Mr. Khosla already. But I'm going to talk about what are really an opportunity for SME or MSME in this particular sector. To start with, to give you a touch upon what's the global scenario like, just to tell you the 45% of overall EV vehicle which is running in the world is from China. So China is out there. So China is the mother of all the EV vehicles which is being used. It is also expected that by 2025, overall percentage of EV share will be 14% of the overall market. I'll come back to you why we are saying so and why studies say so. And both of them are actually driven by, again, the carbon emission norms, CAFE norms, etc. If you look specifically the early adopters, Norway is one of the most early adopting countries. 46% of its vehicles which is running is EV. And this is actually driven by only two things: very strong regulations and incentives for the users. And it is now being actually replicated in other developing nations also. If you look at Indian scenario, very nascent stage. Only 1% of our total automobile sale is actually EV. When I say nascent, it means that we have enough opportunity out there, which Mr. Khosla was talking about. But interestingly, 95% of the overall EV vehicle are two-wheeler and three-wheeler. Three-wheeler predominantly. Government is working government is working in its own ways, primarily to make sure the adoption of these vehicles go up through GST. So again, there are tax benefit which is there. There are targets which Niti Aayog has taken up for three-wheelers and two-wheelers. And also, and these targets are pretty ambitious, mind you. But if you really look at, if you really want to develop this whole EV adoption, there are 6 key stakeholders in this whole business. The first one being government and the regulatory bodies. When I say government, it is the Niti Aayog, the ministry, the state government also. So this is one area where regulations will play an important role. The second is the motor technology. When I say motor technology, players like Bosch, Siemens, Toshiba, these are continuously working on shifting from an IC engine to a different engine. I think there is a huge scope for MSMEs to partner them. The third player is the automobile manufacturer, they themselves. And there is a tier 2, tier 3 type of a setup which is already there for the automobile manufacturers. I think tier 2, tier 3 people will be engaged, and which are primarily MSME in nature. So traditional automakers are also there, and there are new players who have also started producing and selling this particular this EV products. The fourth being charging infrastructure. Mr. Mukherjee talked about of the need of charging infrastructure, which they are supplying. So again, MSMEs, there is an opportunity to partner with companies like CESC and probably many other, how to develop or how to scale up the charging infrastructure. So basically both from a charging technology and from a utility bodies. The fifth being the battery technologies. Again, battery technologies, lead acid battery which Toto runs, and now lithium ion is the one which we are talking about. A lot of research is going on, and development of batteries are there, are working on it. So what we feel is that this is the fifth element which is extremely important in developing the ecosystem, which is battery technologies. And the last one of the stakeholder is the person who is going to use it, the user. The user is you, me, and everybody out there through our personal vehicle or through public transport. So when I say public transport, again, Mr. Mukherjee mentioned about metros and other stuff, Ola, Uber, mobility providers, these are all the people who are going to decide how the adoption goes. So basically these 6 areas offers opportunities to partner to develop this particular industry. Government through its, again, auto policies and FAME 2 regulations are working for early adoption. I just want to mention one point. The other speakers have mentioned about CO2 emissions. I just wanted to mention about the CAFE standards. What is CAFE standard? Essentially what we are saying is that it's a corporate average fuel efficiency which each of the automakers will have to adhere to. What does it mean? It means that there are certain emission norms which each of these auto majors need to adhere in terms of what is the emission norms of their overall product basket. Say for example, if 100% is their IC engine vehicles, vis-a-vis 10% of is a battery operated engines which they work on, So aggregate of what is the emission standards, they need to arrive at it. So this will drive substantial part of these automobile manufacturers' portfolio to be EV. Yeah. So the challenges which we are seeing, and hence the opportunities for MSMEs, I have put few of them, which I think are very relevant. High cost of batteries. So $200 per kilowatt hour is what is the cost. Just to give you, a two-wheeler takes 2.5 kilowatt hour battery, which is close to 35 to 40,000 rupees, which is almost 50% of the overall cost will be battery. This battery cost needs to go down. When I say battery as a technology, battery as a casing. So a lot of opportunity is there in terms of packaging of battery. That is also one area where there is an opportunity. Higher weight, again, because weight, with increase in weight, a range of vehicle, the range on each charging or range of kilometers goes down. So one has to work on the design part of it, of right material, probably moving from high tensile material or some other alternate material, which could be fiber based, is what we are looking at. High charging time. Again, a fellow speaker mentioned about it takes 7-8 hours to charge the entire vehicle, but there are dash chargers available. There is opportunity here also. High dependence on imports. Lithium-ion batteries are mostly imported. Probably local production is the next way we have to look into. I was just seeing a report before coming to this presentation, was that our import bills, if every 100% of our vehicle is converted into EV, our imports bill will be higher than the imports bill which we pay for oil in the current year. So it is not easy to convert everything to EV without hitting on our import bills. So in the current cost structure, I think there is one thing we have to really look into. Low availability of lithium cobalt, again, it's an ingredient for the battery manufacturers. There is only few areas, few countries where this particular material is there. Again, sourcing of this material will be a concern. Charging station infrastructure, we have already spoken about. Battery swapping or replacement. This is another area where Ola Electricity is working on, or many other people are working on. They are saying that when the vehicle, say a long range vehicles, needs to recharge it, they need not go and recharge for say half an hour or for 3-4 hours. They can actually replace the battery. So such services are going to come up, but such services has design limitations. For example, the car design itself has to be such that the batteries can be removed and replaced in a very short period of time. Again, these are opportunities for us. This is my last slide. What probably Tesla has done is that it has opened its design. It's an open source now. So design, anybody can go and check and see what is the best way to design an EV vehicle. It's an open source now. Anybody can go. I think it is a good way of increasing adoption. And the last is that there is a trend also which we have seen. This I have borrowed it from somewhere. That yes, public transport will be the early adopters, followed by cabs, scooters, motorcycles, and probably the last will be the heavy commercial vehicles. So there are enough